Okay, let's dive right in. We're talking about a huge shift happening in the world of enterprise AI. See, it's not a one-horse race anymore, not by a long shot. Today, we're going to break down exactly why so many business leaders are making a really strategic pivot to Google's Gemini 2.5 Pro. I mean, you remember this, right? Back in late 2022, ChatGPT didn't just show up to the party, it was the party. For pretty much everyone, executives, the public, you name it, the letters AI just meant ChatGPT. It was this single dominant force in a brand new world. So, that's the big question, isn't it? And look, all the signs are pointing to a resounding yes. That era of one model dominating everything is over. The whole game has changed, which means the choices business leaders have to make now are much, much more interesting. All right, so let's get into our first section here, the end of an era. We've gone from that single monolith to what is now a truly multipolar market. And this right here, this is the pivot that changes everything. The conversation has completely shifted. It's not about asking which AI is the best anymore. The real question, the smart question, is which AI is the best tool for this specific job? Okay, next up, the context revolution. We're about to talk about what might be the single most important feature driving all of this, the AI's working memory. Now, it sounds a little technical, I know, but trust me, the business implications are absolutely huge. So, what is a context window? The easiest way to think about it is as the AI's short-term memory. It's how much stuff can it juggle in its head at one time to figure something out. And let me tell you, this one single factor, it's a massive deal. And when you look at the numbers, the difference is just staggering. I mean, this isn't a small gap, it's a chasm. You've got Gemini 2.5 Pro with a 1 million token context window. 1 million! That's more than double GPT-5's 400,000. When you're talking about real enterprise-level problems, that's not just a difference. That's a whole different ballgame. But what does a million tokens even mean? Let's make it real. That's about 1,500 pages of text. Think about that for a second. You can feed an AI an entire book, a massive legal document, a whole research paper, and it can read and understand the whole thing in one single pass. No breaks.
And that massive context window, it unlocks things that just weren't possible before. For finance, you can now analyze an annual report and the investor call transcript at the same time. For legal, you can plow through thousands of pages of discovery documents in one go. And for coders, you can dump, say, 30,000 lines of old, messy code into it and say, hey, figure this out for me. See, these aren't just little improvements. We're talking about brand new capabilities.
And this isn't just theory. Folks in the trenches are seeing this. The old way, without this big context window, meant your engineers had to build these complicated, clunky systems to chop up data into little pieces. It was a huge headache. Gemini just gets rid of all that. And that means you get answers faster, and it costs you less in the long run. Okay, let's move on. Section 3 is all about going beyond words and code. We're going to talk about something called multimodality and how these AIs are starting to pick their specialties. Okay, you probably saw this online, right? The whole nano banana thing. It seemed like just a silly internet trend. But here's the thing. It was actually a massive public stress test of Gemini's image generation. And it proved it could do 3 things that businesses care a lot about: create really high-quality images, keep them consistent, and do it all at a huge scale through a simple interface. That's an enterprise playbook right there. And the reason it could do that is because Gemini was built from the ground up to be natively multimodal. That's a fancy way of saying it wasn't just a text model that they later taught to see pictures. No, it was designed from day one to think in text, images, audio, and video all at the same time. And that opens the door to some seriously powerful business applications. Now, this is really interesting. In the coding world, we're seeing these 2 AIs really specialize. Think of it like this. GPT-5 is the greenfield master. Greenfield means you're starting with a fresh, empty field, building something brand new from scratch. It's super fast for that. But Gemini, it's the brownfield specialist. Brownfield is when you have an old, existing, complicated system, and you need to go in and fix it or update it. That's where Gemini's huge context window and deep logic really shine. And you see this play out in the real world all the time. If you're a startup whipping up a new app, yeah, you might grab GPT-5 for its speed. But if you're a huge company trying to modernize a system that's been running for 20 years, like this quote says, Gemini's power to just swallow that entire codebase whole is, well, indispensable. You can't do the job without it. Okay, so this all brings us to the bottom line, the money. In Section 4, we need to rethink the ROI because it's time to stop looking at the sticker price and start thinking about a much smarter metric, your cost per insight.
So I'm going to ask you a question. Just based on the price list, which model do you think is more expensive? Go on, take a guess. Because the answer, well, it's probably not what you think.
And surprise, look at this. On paper, they're basically the same price. The cost per token has pretty much converged. And what that tells you is that the sticker price isn't the real story, not even close. Here's the real story. To analyze, say, 800,000 tokens of reports with GPT-5, look at all those steps. Your engineers have to build a whole system to chop up the data, send it in pieces, get summaries back, and then stitch it all together. It's complicated. Now look at the Gemini workflow. It's one step. One. All those hidden costs on the left, the engineering time, the complexity, the risk of things going wrong, they're huge. They just disappear on the right. And this is the absolute core of the new ROI. It's not about how much you pay per token. It's about the total cost to actually solve your business problem. And that includes everything, your developer salaries, the time it takes, the complexity. A simpler workflow isn't just nice to have. It means a lower total cost, and you get your answers way faster. So let's just quickly recap the whole thing. When it comes to the context window, Gemini gives you deeper insights without all that engineering mess. For developers, think GPT-5 for brand new projects, Gemini for digging into old, complex ones. And the big picture B2B use case, GPT-5 is like a great, versatile teammate, while Gemini is your heavy-duty analytical engine for tackling your biggest data challenges. So where does that leave us? What does this all mean for your strategy? Well, it's clear we're in a completely new phase now. And to get a real competitive edge, you're going to need a much smarter game plan. So, here's your new mandate. First things first, the winner-take-all era is over. Just accept it. Stop searching for that one magic AI that will solve all your problems. It doesn't exist. Your job now is to build a flexible system, an architecture that's smart enough to send the right task to the right model. And that means you need to find partners who are strategic architects, not just salespeople pushing one product. So look, the conversation has changed. It's not about who's best anymore. It's about having the right tool for the job. These tools are getting incredibly specialized, and the opportunity that creates is just immense. So the only question left for you is, now that you can pick the right tool for the job, what fundamental business problem are you going to solve first?